Good morning and welcome to your program, Your Agenda, here on Cignal TV, channels 8 and 250 via One News. Thank you for joining us this morning, June 13, 2023. It's a Tuesday, and here in Lipa, Batangas, Lipa City, Batangas, the weather is nice, it's cool, it's not sunny, but the sun is out. And today we are going to be featuring a doctor who will be talking to us about something some of you may have experienced. You may have had a parent who had this experience. It's painful. And I know people who are about to have surgery for this. Some people don't realize they have this, but we will tackle a particular ailment that is quite common among Filipinos. Okay, but before all of that, I would just like to thank all our Cignal TV subscribers. Maraming salamat po. Because without your support, we would not be here, and we really appreciate that you watch Agenda, that you subscribe with Cignal TV, and of course, thank you to all of you who watch us via Facebook, via YouTube, and the Cignal Play app. And we do have replay, so if you miss us in the morning, you can still miss us. You can still watch us. Don't miss us naman double time. Ano? You can still watch us in our replays, especially through YouTube. Now, today we will start our day with gratitude, an attitude of gratitude. Be thankful with the Lord be thankful to the Lord, to our God Almighty, because ginising kanya muli. Okay, and let's thank you also to PLDT Home Fiber Optic Internet for their services here in Lipa City, in Baguio, and the different parts of the country where we are able to connect through the internet. Now, short lang yung ating daily starter. It comes from Alex Hormozi. He's a motivational speaker, life coach, and a lot of other things. But he's the kind of guy who keeps it short and sweet. And sometimes it's short and direct to the point. And Alex Hormozi begins our daily starter by saying, okay, outwork your self-doubt. Do you have doubts about what you are doing? Do you have self-doubts about your abilities, your capacities, what you can do? And what Alex Hormozi is suggesting or telling us is work harder. Work more, work harder than your self-doubt. Kung anuman yung pagdududa mo, whatever your misgivings are, simply just put in more work, because a lot of the champion players, a lot of the people, for instance, EJ Obena, his detractor said he wasn't good enough. He couldn't compete against all the other champions, but he just put in the work. Same thing with all the basketball stars and a lot of business people I know. I know celebrities and millionaires who, when they were young, were told they couldn't make it. They had a lot of self-doubt, but their recipe was, well, I'm just going to work harder at it and let's see what happens. So that's what Alex Hormozi says. Outwork your self-doubt. Let's now go to the front page of the Philippine Star, which of course features everything about the Independence Day, but the headline is Mayon begins spewing lava. Lava flow from Mayon volcano has reached a distance of 1.8 kilometers from the summit or from the mouth of the volcano. But, while most people say, wow, that's scary, etc., It's actually good that my own volcano is doing this so that you don't have huge destructive eruptions like Pinatubo. Okay. At the top of the front page, you have a photo of lots of people attending the flag raising ceremony at the Luneta Park. I believe, yeah, they're in front of the monument of national hero Jose Rizal. And the photo of President Bongbong Marcos saluting the uniformed personnel and government employees who joined the parade. And BBM says, Philippines won't be subservient to any external force. Okay, so that's the declaration of BBM yesterday. And while the president was making his declaration that the Philippines won't be subservient to any external force, the Chinese ships, okay, shadowed by China ships, Philippine Coast Guard ferries aid to Pag-asa. Okay, kumbaga, well, it is in contested areas, they say, so whatever. Anyway, further to the center of the front page, no progress on biases against women, UN report. Okay, according to United Nations report on gender equality, there has been no progress in terms of correcting biases against women globally. Hindi po yan dito sa Pilipinas, ano? Because here in the Philippines, we try our best to honor, respect, love the women because we all love our mothers. We all obey our wife. Okay. Anyway, diesel up. Nako, ito masakit. Diesel up by 140. Okay. Pesos, diesel up by 1 peso, 40 pesos, gas higher by 1 peso, 20. Nako, mabuti, nakorek ko kagad ko, baka may inatake sa puso. Okay, so ayun po, no? But please, don't panic because when you really compute it, you know, okay, so it went up. We can't do anything about it. The Saudis cut their oil production. But, you know, you might say, oh, lalabas ako, I will load up. How much money can you actually save? Save fuel by driving less. Save fuel by driving properly. Don't try to save fuel by going out and trying to fill your tank just because. Okay. And finally, I saved it for last as an act of homage and honoring the gentleman, soldier, and statesman, former senator, and military chief Rodolfo Biazon. Pong Biazon, soldier and statesman, has passed away at age 88. Okay. Former Senator and Military Chief Rodolfo Biazon died yesterday, Independence Day, at the age of 88, according to his son, Muntinlupa Mayor Rufy Biazon. The elder Biazon, who was fondly called Pong, died after battling lung cancer for almost a year, having been diagnosed with the disease in July 2022. He was born on April 14, 1935. Ka-birthday ko pa pala si General Biazon. It is with deep sadness that we announce that the bell has rung and the last taps has been sung for General Rodolfo Gaspar Biazon, former AFP Chief of Staff, member of the Philippine Senate, and the House of Representatives. It is perfectly fitting that he passed away Independence Day at around 8:30 a.m. The soldier who dedicated his life and laid it on the line in defending freedom and democracy he has been set free from the pains of the world. Okay, so that is a part of the statement issued by Muntinlupa Mayor Rufy Biazon, son of the late Senator and General Pong Biazon. Nakikiramay po kami. Our Rufy Biazon, Mayor Rufy Biazon, is our brother in the Lord, our fellow church member at Every Nation Victory Christian Fellowship. And I personally feel this because I have had engagements with then General Biazon, then Congressman, etc. And he was a good man. And as my wife pointed out, we can only pray that when our time comes, at the very least, people will say that we were good people. And we pray that General Biazon is now in the arms of the Lord. Go with God, sir. Okay, so let's move on to our program here on Agenda. And like I said, our topic for today is is about disease. It's about health. It's about medicine. We will be interviewing a doctor. And I encourage all of you to please listen. Kasi tayong mga Pilipino, we love to eat. And we never really think of the consequences until the pain begins. Okay, so let's introduce our subject matter and our lecturer for this morning. Gab, please roll out the Betamax.
Are you experiencing upper abdominal pain, frequent burping, and kabag? These are just some of the symptoms of developing gallstones. According to health experts, gallstones are more likely to develop in those who are overweight, women with previous pregnancies, and those who have strong family history of the condition. Let's learn more about prevention and treatment of this disease on today's agenda.
Dr. Ruel Barroso is the head of Rizal Medical Center's Hepato-Pancreato-Biliary Surgery section. Aside from this, he is the founding member of the Philippine Association of Hepato-Pancreato-Biliary Surgeons. Dr. Barroso also works in other hospitals like the Cardinal Santos Medical Center and the Medical City.
Good morning, Dr. Ryan. Smile naman. Sorry, napuyat kaya kagabi. Ilan na naman ang na-operahan ninyo kagabi?
Ito po, okay naman po.
Okay, thank you for joining us this morning, Dr. Ryan. And it is a very relatable topic for me because I remember my father, the late Ruel Barroso, experienced this condition. And he ended up having unscheduled surgery because the pain was so unbearable. And the other day, meron akong naging trainee for a team building, and she actually shared to our group that she was about to undergo surgery for gallstones. So, can you tell us, Doc, how common, how ordinary is this condition of having large gallstones, whatever, among Filipinos?
Yes, so it's very common po, as you mentioned, and one of the common causes is it was mentioned earlier, yung overweight po, no?
Mm-hmm.
And being Filipino, our diet is mostly mga prito. Pritong
Fried.
Yeah, fried. So the liver kasi is mostly nag-aano ng cholesterol yan, nagpa-process ng cholesterol. So if there's an imbalance with the cholesterol, nagkakaroon po ng stones. So it's actually one of the more common procedures, yung pagtanggal ng gallbladder due to gallbladder stones.
Okay, so which comes first, the chicken or the egg, as they say, no? Because we were saying People who are overweight, yung mga matataba, sorry, walang personalan. This is not I am not shape shaming or figure shaming, but people who are overweight are susceptible to having gallstones. Or is it because we eat fried food most of the time?
Well, madami pong variable po, no? It's not really just the diet, but a lot of it is also with our genes din, no?
Mm-hmm.
I find that in certain families, mas madalas sila magkaroon ng stones. And you might also find overweight or people who love to eat fried food and they don't have gallstones. And on the other side, meron din po yung na very healthy looking, average weight, ideal weight, but they might have gallstones.
That's interesting, Doc Ryan, because yung sinabi ko sa yung trainee, well, not trainee, but participant, that's the correct word, participant in our leadership training early last week, she wasn't fat, she was medium built or more on the slim side. And sabi ko, may gallstone ka? Alam ko nag-gallstone, are the big people. So it can be genetic.
Right. There are usually may mga main causes siya. There are different kinds of stones din kasi na nafo-form, no? So
Okay.
Cholesterol stone is just one of them, the more common ones. Meron din yung tawag naming pigment stones, medyo dark yun. And these are more common with yung mga may mga blood problems naman. And then lastly, yung mga mixed kinds of stones na it's mostly from infection naman, pwede din magkaroon ng stones. So it's multifactorial. So that's why there's it's hard to pinpoint which patients do have stones or not.
Okay, now what are the usual definite signs that a person is about to have an appointment or a date with Doc Ryan?
Yung pinaka-common symptoms of gallstone is magkakaroon ng pain in the right upper quadrant area, and minsan nagre-radiate to the right shoulder, no? So and minsan more common din also is epigastric pain, o yung sa sikmura, para kang hindi natutunawan after eating a meal. And these are the quite common presentations naman po with gallstones.
Why is that, Doc Ryan? Because I always sinabi namin sa intro, if you burp or dumidighay ka lagi, and if you are susceptible to kabag or gas pains, etc., that seems to be the obvious. But I couldn't connect why it would radiate to the right upper shoulder, sabi mo.
Oh, that one is mostly because of the nerves in the area ng gallbladder. No, we call that referred pain. So yung area na yun, pag nagkaroon ng pamamaga, parang nafe-feel ng pasyente na sa shoulder pumupunta. So yun po yung peculiar for that area ng gallbladder and around the liver area.
Mm-hmm. And how do you differentiate? Because I think that's the mistake my father made when he had that severe attack or condition with gallbladder, with gallstones. I think he initially thought meron a hyperacidity. Pagkatapos, he started thinking it was heartburn. And then some people started talking, pare, baka inatake ka na sa puso niyan. So that's the only time when he couldn't bear it anymore that he went to the hospital. How do you differentiate na hindi lang yan kabag?
Yeah, all of the above is correct. Everything you mentioned is correct, especially kung merong mga yung patient has a heart problem din.
Mhm.
When the patient sees the doctor in the emergency room, usually we tend to rule out first yung pinakadelikado, and that's usually heart causes and all that. So kailangan talaga i-work up yung patient. And there are some blood tests and laboratories and things to do in the hospital kung emergency na yung presentation, kagaya nung masakit na talaga, and
Mhm.
that's what the doctors will do.
I remember during the time and when my father passed away from a massive heart attack, someone had he was suggesting and the idea that, you know, Cito, when patients try to bear, tinitiis yung sakit, they try to bear the pain because they don't want to have the gallbladder surgery, that could actually result in complications leading to a heart attack. Is that possible?
Yes, you know, the heart is a very sensitive organ, you know, with chronic infection, inflammation ng gallbladder. Of course, maraming apektuhan na organs, hindi lang yung sa gallbladder mismo. Apektuhan lahat din. So, especially mga diabetic patients, these patients, they don't present typically with the usual pain, no? Kasi with diabetes, there's also some nerve damage. So, the pain that they feel, they're not so intense. So a lot of these patients will keep on with their usual routine, not complain of anything. So yun yung mga peculiarities naman if they have other illness like diabetes.
Okay, so you were saying kanina, Doc Ryan, that, you know, you have the abdominal pain, you have abdominal pain radiating to the upper shoulder, and what else are the sure signs? Because extreme pain, pag extreme pain yata, medyo, someone was saying na blocking na yan, that it could block a particular duct or something, could jeopardize the liver. Para lang alam ng tao na yung nagtitiis when it comes to gallstones can be dangerous.
Yes, so yung gallbladder kasi para siyang reservoir, no? Parang reservoir ng bile, which is yung main product ng liver, and it helps in digestion ng food, kaya nagkakaroon ng what we call indigestion na symptoms. Hindi balance yung mga yung content nun, and this one, the gallbladder is functioning like a reservoir, and it pumps it out if we are eating. Yung area na yun, pwedeng mahulugan din ng bato, kasi kung may bato sa gallbladder, it might block these tubes from the liver to the yung small bowel natin kung saan tayo kumakain, at para mag-mix ng food natin, mag-digest. Mabarahan ito, and kung nabarahan ito, it's really yung mga symptoms na masasama, like naninilaw yung pasyente minsan. And then even one of the worst ones is pancreatitis naman. Mamamaga din yung pancreas, kasi na lahat yan sila naka-connect dun sa tube na yun, yung liver, yung gallbladder, and the pancreas. So parang main road EDSA, tapos merong mga side roads, nababarahan yung mga side roads, and nagkakaproblema yung mga organs.
Okay, now pain is clearly there, the threat to the pancreas. What happens, ano ba yung danger ng pancreatitis?
Yun, po yun, no? It's a very, very fickle na organ. Madali siyang magalit, madaling mamaga. And it can be, ang symptoms naman doon, severe epigastric pain naman yun. And napakasakit po doon, one of the worst pains in the abdomen. And it can be very complicated din, yung severe na pancreatitis. Can have internal hemorrhage, can have infections all over. So yun yung mga very bad complications naman that nag-start with a gallstone lang.
Okay. So earlier, Doc Ryan, you said that it can be genetic, it can be hereditary. So if you have a grandfather, a father, a brother, a sister, or a tito or tita who has had gallbladder disease, or particularly has had gallstones in the gallbladder, then that is already a reminder to watch the diet. Now, you said earlier na watching the diet may not always be, 100% safety, because some people just get it.
Right, right. Hindi lang it's not the main although I mean, I'm sorry, it's the usual cause, but it's not it will not rule out all the other causes din. So importante lang talaga is magpatingin, lalo na kung may nararamdaman na. But it would be better ma regular checkup. Not all, para hindi matakot yung mga tao, not all gallstones are being removed naman na kailangan ng surgery kaagad. Usually some of them, if they're not symptomatic, we don't usually remove the gallbladder, not necessarily surgery agad, but there's other things that we can do.
Okay, now, so what kind of tests or a checkup do you require? Kasi sa blood test nga parang sabi ko, wala bang reference sa Google para malaman natin kung ano ipapa-blood test natin, etc.?
Well, aside from the blood test, the more definite diagnosis would be from an ultrasound. Nakikita talaga kung may stones o wala. Yun yung pinaka-main na magda-diagnose kung meron na bang gallstones or not.
Okay, now, you said that not all gallstones require surgery, not all gallstones are considered a medical threat or a problem. Now, how do you know that, well, of course, sinabi ng doktor, tanggalin na natin yan, pero may mga magsasabi, there are patients who say, Doc, I am going to drink, ano ba yun? Yung sinasabi nila, mga vinegar, mga apple cider, etc. Could you comment on that? Do those flushing or juicing practices really work?
Well, it's very hard. I personally, I'm not very good with I don't know all of the, kasi ang dami niyang mga pwedeng inumin na mga natural so I'm not really good at all of those. But mainly for me, basta aware lang yung pasyente na they have gallstones, and if they don't have any symptoms, usually we can observe pa naman and correct what's example, kung masyado silang mahilig ng fried food nga, maybe they should lie low muna, and then we can observe yung kung mag-improve yung situation. But generally, pag walang symptoms naman po and not diabetic, we can observe.
Okay, let's touch on that diabetic thing again. So, if a person is diabetic or has diabetes and experience, well, you said they don't always manifest pain, right? So they should simply just have a CT scan. CT scan ba mo? Ultrasound, sorry. Meron kasi akong pasyente dito na neuro treatment. Anyway, ultrasound, magpatingin na just to be sure.
Yes, so best would be a check-up talaga with their doctor who knows their history, yung alam na yung nila, mga sakit nila, para matingnan thoroughly.
Okay, now what are the threats to diabetic persons who come down with a complication of gallstones?
Yeah, diabetes kasi they are more prone to infection din So high blood sugar, it's more prone to infection, and then pag may infection sila, lalo tumataas din yung sugar nila, so it's like a cycle. Tapos mabilis din yung yung progression ng mga sakit ng kagaya ng gallstone sa kanila. So we really have to be more careful pag diabetic yung patient. Di ba, I think in some patients, di ba iniingatan parati daw, sinasabi ingatan yung sa mga paa, magkasugat, delikado. So, ganun din yun actually sa gallbladder. Kailangan ingatan din yun especially in diabetic patients.
Okay. Doc Ryan, let's go for a quick break. We'll just do some commercial. And when we return, let's continue talking about this thing, about gallstones, gallbladder, and of course, your other area of concern here on Agenda. We'll be right back.
It's not just gallstones that one must be careful of when taking care of the gallbladder. A diverse spectrum of diseases affects the biliary system, often presenting with similar clinical symptoms. These conditions include cholecystitis, Mirizi syndrome, cholangitis, biliary tract malignancies, and biliary tract cysts, among others. Fortunately, there are ways to treat diseases like these, which can range from medicines to surgery. Let's discuss that further here on Agenda.
Okay, welcome back to your... Oops. What's going on? There we go. Welcome back to your program Agenda, and I'm your host, Cito Beltran. With us this morning is Dr. Ruel Barroso. He is the head of the HPB Surgery Section, Rizal Medical Center, and founding member, Philippine Association of Hepato-Pancreato-Biliary Surgeons. Doc Ryan, pagkahirap-hirap naman i-pronounce ang mga practices na yan and diseases na yan. Okay, but anyway, so quick review. You said gallstones, gallbladder disease could be hereditary. It could be lifestyle because Filipinos love to eat fried food. It could be state of health brought on by being overweight. And anything else? Did I miss anything else?
Mostly ganun po. And some blood problems din, blood disease.
Okay, what sort of blood disease aside from, diabetes is really, I don't think it's a blood disease, but what blood diseases contribute to gallstones, gallbladder, pancreatitis, etc.?
Usually kasi yung yung mga blood disease that causes a lot of what we call hemolysis, no? Yung hemolysis na yan, yung breakdown product ng mga red blood cells natin, mas mabilis nangyayari. And they accumulate also sa liver and they become what we call pigment stones naman. Yung ibang patient, yung may mga heart problems, they break down yung red blood cells din, and then this also causes sa mga stones sa gallbladder. So there's a lot of things that can cause gallstones.
Parang nagiging material recovery center kasi ang liver.
Right, exactly.
And yung kanilang refuse doesn't always go to the toilet. Some pieces get left over and becomes a problem. Okay, now what about treatment options? We were talking about all of these people talking about apple cider, vinegar, etc. And well, it's all suggestion. But in the world of medicine, what is the treatment protocol once a patient is determined to have gallstones?
Well, again, it depends kung ano talaga yung what the doctors see as the main cause ng and basically we try to eliminate the main problem. So if it's usually mga diet na problem, so it has to be lifestyle changes. The doctor might say na we might need to lose a few pounds, so let's work on this. So basically ganun po yung approach. You go for the main problem.
Okay, so being overweight is a problem. And okay, so you need to lose weight. Do people with gallstones experience difficulty or pain when doing exercises? Kasi may mga magaling sumagot dyan, sasabi, baka sumakit ho pag nag-exercise ako.
Yun po, kung sumasakit na po, those cases need to be looked at na definitely, no?
Okay.
Pag may symptoms na, then that's the time that we would probably advise the patients to have intervention.
Okay, so if we did, let's set an example. Okay, use me as an example. Okay, Doc, medyo na sumasakit. Then sasabihin mo, inom ka muna ng gamot para sa flatulence or para sa kabag. And then bumalik na naman after 1 week or a few days, sir. Ganun pa rin, Doc Ryan eh. And then you will give me painkillers or something, or sasabihin mo na, teka, magpa-ultrasound ka na.
Yeah, usually we would request na an ultrasound pag the symptoms seem to linger on and di nakukuha ng mga simple na gamot, then we would probably look more into it.
Okay. Now, once you determine, because ladies and gentlemen, if anything happens to me and I need hospitalization, I will go to Rizal Medical Center. That's my favorite go-to hospital. And by the way, thank you to RMC Management for lending us Doc Ryan this morning. Alam ko, ginising kita, Doc Ryan. But anyway, so, nag-ultrasound. Cito, may stones ka. Now, bukasan na ba kagad? Because apparently some people are now my father had a procedure where they only put a hole, 3 holes yata. Some people were talking about they had to slice me open, etc. What's the process, Doc Ryan?
So yung gold standard na ngayon for removing gallbladder is called laparoscopic cholecystectomy, and it's the removal of the entire gallbladder. A lot of patients get confused kasi they know that ang problem nila yung stone lang, so they keep asking why not remove just the stone. But usually the main problem din is it's actually the gallbladder na hindi na masyado gumagalaw, meron ng infection, namamaga, and the stones are just the products of these problems, and that's why we recommend removing the entire gallbladder talaga, and so that the stone will not recur. So ang tawag doon naman po laparoscopic cholecystectomy, yung dinescribe niyo that has a holes, parang keyhole surgery ang tawag.
When do you, kasi gold standard ka mo, that evidently is the choice of surgeons like yourself. Now, medyo parang because I've heard of patients na hinihiwa what's the difference? Why some patients get cut or sliced and others go for laparoscopy?
Yeah, that's a great question. Some patients kasi are quite complicated. Minsan marami ng previous operations. Minsan may mga other conditions that cannot tolerate yung laparoscopic approach. Kasi yung laparoscopic approach, basically naglalagay din kami ng air inside the abdomen para makatrabaho yung surgeon. So sometimes pag may mga mahina yung lungs, mahina yung heart, these patients cannot really tolerate a big that kind of approach. So we go back to the classical way of doing the cholecystectomy, which is may hiwa talaga po yun, open surgery ang tawag doon.
Okay, because most people can't answer that question. I mean, ordinary people, parang bakit binibiyak or why do you slice open a patient? So if they have a weak heart, they have weak lungs, or there's some complication, or they've had too many surgeries already, and creating that environment where you bloat the cavity ba? Yun ba yung practice doon, Doc?
Yes, opo. Ganun po yun.
Para kang vulcanizing shop,
Ganun po.
You bloat the entire cavity to create access paths to the gallbladder.
Right. Ganun po.
Okay, and then you remove the gallbladder. Now, here's the thing. People I know who have lost their gallbladder, I mean, first when you tell a patient, we're going to have to take out your gallbladder, it's dead, or it's not functioning anymore. What? I don't want to die incomplete. How will that affect my life? People kind of worry about that, Doc.
Yeah, it is quite common. People worry about these things. Yung gallbladder naman, it's people can live without a gallbladder. Nag-a-adjust naman po yung katawan. In fact, most of the patients I've seen, wala namang nararamdaman na nagbabago after gallbladder removal. Some of them might have parang initially bloating din. Initially, parang kailangan pa nila masanay yung katawan nila. And after a few weeks or even months, usually babalik din naman sa dati yung pakiramdam nila.
Okay, now there are misconceptions. I don't know, because when my father had his gallbladder removed, my brother had the same condition, and based on their stories, I was saying, well, you can't eat fatty foods anymore. Because if you eat fatty foods or oily foods, the first thing your body is going to do is send you to the toilet. Okay. How true is that, Doc Ryan?
Yeah, that can happen in some patients yung nag-a-adjust pa. That you will have these symptoms nga na mabilis punta sa toilet after eating, but after a while usually babalik din naman yung usual, yung regular nila na previously.
Okay, they babalik sila ulit sa kasalanan nila. In other words, okay, they go back to their sinful life like my brother Ricky. I thought he would lose weight. He ended up gaining more weight. Okay. Anyway, Doc Ryan, we'll go for another break, our last break in the program. And when we return, let's continue our conversation regarding this particular ailment that we are featuring on agenda. We'll be right back here on the program. Okay, welcome back to your program Agenda, and with us is Dr. Ryan Ruel Barroso of the HBP surgery section. He's the head of the HBP surgery section at Rizal Medical Center. And Doc Ryan, let's continue our conversation. Kanina, we were talking about post-operative expectations. And I said that my father, my brother, both had their gallbladder removed, and they thought that they would lose weight.
Yeah, medyo common po yun, no, na after they feel better after a few weeks from surgery, and typically they would go back to the usual ways. Ideally naman dapat talaga mag-change ng lifestyle, no? So yun yung important din po yun, otherwise other things can still happen.
Yeah. What about people who love to eat and drink? Kasi in the Philippines, we are aware of the fact that particularly Filipino men, they love to celebrate, they love to drink alcohol, beer, and pulutan. And always the pulutan is deadly, okay, on the long term. And does alcohol play or have an impact on gallbladder or medicines? People who take a lot of medicines or vitamins, etc. What are the triggers in terms of external factors?
Yeah, alcohol and fatty foods, usually ang tatamaan hindi lang gallbladder, talagang pati liver na talaga tinatamaan eh. So nagkakaroon ng fatty liver, what we call steatosis, and we now know that these conditions can eventually lead to liver cirrhosis. So fatty liver pwede mag-cirrhosis. Alcoholic liver can also lead to cirrhosis, and these are end stage na liver problems naman na napakadelikado po.
Okay, I don't know if you're in a position to comment on it, but I assume expertise mo na rin yan. Yung bang fatty liver, can you explain that to us? Kasi I'm a journalist, I've heard fatty liver time and again. Parang sabi ko, ano ba yan? Tumaba lang yung atay mo? What's wrong? I mean, masama ba yung tumaba yung atay mo? What's the problem there, Doc?
Yeah, you did mention it, a good analogy kanina, yung liver kasi functions to parang scavenge everything and then clean it out. Pag masyadong madaming fatty cholesterol etc. sa kinakain ng tao, nasa-store naman yung fat sa liver. That's the natural storage area. So pag tumataba talaga yung atay, and this causes a lot of inflammation, pamamaga in the liver, and this is what causes naman liver cirrhosis.
Ayun, okay. So it's not just that your liver is fat, but your liver has absorbed so much fat that it can't function, it can't do the correct processing of all the foreign materials coming into your bloodstream, and so it eventually fails and you have cirrhosis, or little by little na nagkakasugat-sugat, bleeding of the liver until it's kumbaga parang nagdisintegrate na yung atay mo.
Yeah, ang liver cirrhosis para siyang yung scarred na liver. So nag-uumpisa siya with a small inflammation, namamaga with the fatty liver, and then magkakaroon ng scars which is more permanent, and lumiliit yung liver, nagiging bukol-bukol, and that's what we call the cirrhotic liver.
Oh, okay. So there's infection, inflammation, it ruptures, pumuputok o nagkakasugat yung atay. Ladies and gentlemen, I know this is an English language program, but I also need to translate it for our Tagalog viewers. Nagkakasugat-sugat. And the problem, like with the heart or with the brain, when there is damage, I believe it's irreparable ba yan? Yung cirrhosis na yan?
Yes, so it's very difficult to reverse, nearly irreversible.
Okay, going back to gallbladder naman. Okay, kasi baka sabihin ng viewer, ano ka ba, Beltran? Tinakot mo na kami sa gallbladder, sisirain mo pa araw namin sa fatty liver. So, drinking and eating fatty foods, etc., that's a no-no. Okay, now, you've had the surgery, you've had your gallbladder removed. You said the body's able to adjust after some time. Now, but why do some people say, if I eat anything fat or oily, I go straight to the toilet? Is that a lifetime concern once you don't have your gallbladder, or is just initial?
Usually it's a temporary adjustment period, no. Is some patients it will take them a few days lang, others not even affected, but a few will have noticeable na symptoms even months after the surgery. But eventually, almost all the patients I've seen, after at least mga 6 months siguro, they usually go back to normal. Baka naman may ibang nakain na sila nung post.
Okay. Now, finally, before we run out of time here in the program, care. What should people do post-operative care and long-term practice to avoid having the complications of losing your gallbladder or developing gallstones? So, yung post-operative care first.
Yeah, number one would be yung lifestyle change. So if they're used to eating a lot of fatty fried food, bawasan na yun, and then adjust, do a little more exercise, incorporate sa lifestyle. Sedentary lifestyle is very has a lot of problems.
Mhm.
So mostly lifestyle changes.
Okay, and then for people who love to take all of these health supplements, nutrients, juices, etc., anything that they should be careful of?
Yeah, I would advise them to have these checked with their doctor or physician, because a lot of the cases that we've seen, yung mga supplements na yan, they can also damage the liver, just like an alcohol or eating fatty food. So be careful with supplements. Just have them cleared with your physician.
Okay, if you don't see the natural material, be careful about processed chemicals, even if it is labeled as nutritional. Okay, Dr. Ryan Ruel Barroso, maraming salamat for your time this morning, and maraming salamat also to Rizal Medical Center for cooperating with us on public information for medicine. Thank you. God bless you, sir.
Thank you very much, pa.
Okay, that's Doc Ryan Ruel Barroso, head of the HPB surgery section of Rizal Medical Center. Be careful, because I have seen people suffer from gallstones and diseases and liver diseases. It is not pleasant, and as Dr. Barroso pointed out, if you're not careful, it could be end stage. It could be the end for your gallbladder. Worse, it could be the end for your liver. Okay, let's go to our end of the program, the blessing, coming from the book of Isaiah, chapter 51, verses 7 to 8. Hear me, you who know what is right, you people who have taken my instruction to heart. Do not fear the reproach of mere mortals, or be terrified by their insults. For the moth will eat them up like a garment, the worm will devour them like wool. But my righteousness will last forever, my salvation through all generation. May the Lord's blessing be upon you and your loved ones today. God bless you. Thank you for joining us, and please include us in your prayers, team agenda, as we serve you. Please keep it here on One News.